Yo, what is up, guys? It's NLG here. Now, very recently, I uploaded the TEW2020 new features from the developer's journal. Now, we got through all the new features, so if you want to see them, then please have a look there. This time, we're going through the attributes, the personality attributes, the performance attributes, and the miscellaneous attributes, and the worker styles, because there's been a lot of change there with some basic information of what some of them are, and also some suggestions as to who fits the bill. So, passes on knowledge. So that's someone who would pretty much act like a mentor. People like Alex Shelley, Chris Jericho, Lance Storm, Mike Foley, Rampage Brown, and Walter. Those are people who are known to really help workers out. And if you have a look, Lance Storm, Rampage Brown, Walter, all head trainers at dojos or academies. So those are the type of people that are going to pass on knowledge. So if you think, well, who runs dojos or who's the head of one, like their trainer, those are the types of people who's going to pass on knowledge. Unapproachable is someone who doesn't act as a mentor to others. I can't really think of any off the top of my head. If you think of any people who you think would be suitable to these that I haven't noted, please do let me know so that I can add it for my mod, which just helps make it that little bit more filled out. Highly strung is someone who reacts very strongly to events, which makes it more likely that their morale is changed. So that means that they can have positive boosts and negative impacts to their morale. So that's people who really take things to heart. Positive outlook, Mick Foley, just someone who always has a positive outlook. Someone who always looks on the bright side of life. We have thin-skinned, which again, someone who's sensitive, takes things a bit to heart. To someone who's probably going to be more likely to have a load of arguments on Twitter. Horn dog, which is someone who's got an increased chance of starting new relationships. So if this is the 2000s, you might want to add CM Punk as one of them, because he's been around the block a few times. It's 2020 now, and he's happily married for a long time, so I probably wouldn't set him for it now. Notorious Ribber would be someone like Owen Hart, someone who's always playing practical jokes. Anti-hardcore, people like Jim Cornette, who hate hardcore wrestling. Don't worry, anti-hardcore doesn't mean that they're married to Uncle Hardcore, it just means that they don't like the hardcore wrestling. So your old school people like Jim Cornette, though especially Jim Cornette, are the types of people who will be anti-hardcore. Keeps kayfabe. I can't really think of anyone who really keeps kayfabe to the bone. The first person I thought was The Undertaker, but now that he's really wound his dating over the last couple of years, he's doing that a lot less, and he's doing like interviews and he's going around. I remember he came to the UK and it was shown that like he did this tour where people were paying £500 to just hear him speak at like this interview type thing and then get a photograph with him, and the photos were horrific. He'd just stand there with this blank facial expression, just looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Like, imagine paying £500 for a photo where the person looks like they just don't care. I'd be fuming, me. I wouldn't pay any money for a photo with someone, but £500. I'd want the home number and address for that. There is extremely old school, which is your Jim Cornette, your Dutch Mantels. Money motivate these people to do anything for money. Think of people like Alberto El Patron. He recently fought, like, I think it was Tito Ortiz in a cage fight. Why? Money. Money talks. Loves the business. These are people who can't get enough of it. They live and breathe pro wrestling. Your people like Chris Brooks, Chris Hero, Excalibur, Joey Ryan, The Elite, Will Ospreay. Maybe even Chris Jericho, to be fair, you could argue. Fame hungry are people who, you could argue, well, you could say they're in it for the wrong reason, but it's kind of not. It's the type of people that really want to be famous. They really want to feel like a star. Has a temper. People that get into fights a bit. People like Jimmy Havoc, he's been known to have a bit of a temper about him. Born fight up, you like Eddie Kingston, Samoa Joe. This doesn't mean that they'll increase the likelihood of starting fights. This doesn't mean they're going to go around attacking people. But just means that if someone starts really pushing the buttons, they're going to get put in the arse, realistically. Badass reputation. Matt Riddle, Minoru Suzuki, Roman Reigns, The Undertaker. People like Vader, if he was still around. They are badasses. Motormouth, someone who's telling all the stories. Someone who just doesn't shut up. Maybe back in that day that would have been people like JBL, but in 2020 it feels like there's less of them in wrestling. Storytellers, people who love telling stories. Chris Jericho, Jim Cornette, Kevin Steen. Think of the people who've had like the long shows on the High Spots Wrestling Network, or have had hundreds of episodes of podcasts like Cole Cabana, where they'll tell loads of stories. Prudish, these are people who won't pose for magazines or get involved in things like sex tapes. I haven't really got anyone for that, because I think that's something where unless someone actively starts shitting on that type of thing on Twitter, you're not going to know, because that's a very personal thing, realistically. Now, performance attributes. Canny operator. This is someone who is known to hold back on shows that don't really matter. Think of your Randy Ortons, your Shinsuke Nakamura's now. Dynamo, someone who never holds back during matches. It's not the magician, it's someone who always goes the extra mile, really gives the best. That's your people like Will Ospreay. Tag team specialist. These are people who are their best in a tag team. You could argue that Alex Shelley's that, but he is incredible on his own as well. We've got Beer Money, LAX, the Briscoes, the Dudleys, the Hardys, the Revival, the Usos, and the Young Bucks. You could even argue like Lance Hoyt and Davey Boy Smith Jr. as well. Maybe not Lance Hoyt, but definitely Davey, I think. I always preferred him the most in Killer Elite Squad. Selfish performer is someone who's known to eat up lesser performers to make themselves look good. Nom nom nom. So that means if they're fighting someone who's a little bit shit or a very green or someone like a Snitsky level wrestler, they might go the extra mile, just add that little bit to their moves and their mannerisms, just to make you go, wow, that guy looks good. And then there's a given performer, someone who helps make lesser performers look better than they are. I know Dolph Ziggler, to the fans, he's got no momentum, but there is a reason why he got put against all the new call-ups. There's a reason that he'd lose a lot of matches, because he was a given performer. He'd make you look $1 million. You've got people like Okada. Look at Will Ospreay. He's the best in the world, in my opinion, right now. I think he is the best. And he makes people look incredible. You've got that explosive ring style. So Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Will Ospreay, just that explosive moveset. People like that. You've got Squash Master, people who really excel in squash matches. Awesome Kong, Samoa Joe. And you've got Scatterbrained. I'm not going to lie, I should have put in a tribute definition for that when I made this. Because I'm not going to lie, I cannot remember what Scatterbrained is. Honest, I think, you know what I'd imagine? I'd imagine that that's someone who can't remember their lines in a script, and they always end up just performing really badly to a script. Miscellaneous attributes, so there's quite a few of these. We have healing factor. Recovers from injuries much faster than most people. That's your people like John Cena. You've got career women, people who are dedicated to their career. They won't become pregnant whilst an active wrestler. There's a lot of those now. You can see who really wants to be at the top, who really won't stop. You've got prodigies, people like Matt Riddle, Millie McKenzie, Scotty Davis, Tyler Bate and Will Ospreay, who improved a faster rate during their maturity phase. You've got people who improved a slower rate during their maturity phase as well, which is not unnatural. You've got age is just a number, people who lose skills at a slower rate during their decline phase. AJ Styles, Tanahashi and Minoru Suzuki. Can't fight time is the opposite of that, so their skills depreciate at a faster rate during that. Ahead of their time, that's someone who keeps reinventing themselves, people like Chris Jericho. You get people who are homebodies, people who won't become available to work in new game areas unless they're sent on excursion. That's people who just want to stick to where they are. The opposite of that, world traveller, someone who will travel the world and wrestle everywhere. They will become available in more game areas. You have people like Matt Cross, who's worked in so many countries. Deep roots, I can't really remember. Fitness fanatic, these are your people like Seth Rollins. You've got bodybuilders, which writes itself really. Fat genes, people who are more likely to get out of shape. Skinny genes, less likely to get out of shape. So these are the people in the best physical shape. The people who are ripped. The people whose muscles have muscles. You have mask for life, that's the people who aren't going to give up that mask. Troublesome neck, people like Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito. In matches, they take more wear and tear to this section of the body. Of course, you also have that for back, shoulder, knees. History of concussions, Alexa Bliss, Kairi Sane and Tommy Dreamer. They've had a lot of concussions. Rob Van Dam has as well. And then you've got people who are loyal to their company. So whilst negotiating a new contract, this worker is more inclined to stay for a long time. That doesn't mean that they will stay at their company forever, but means that they're more likely to remain. So that's AJ Styles, Tanahashi, Cena, for example. Kota Ibushi is someone I'd suggest for itchy feet. Whilst negotiating a new contract, they're less inclined to stay for a long time. You know, he has been someone who has moved around a bit. Right now, it seems like that's less of the case as he's wanted to ascend to the top of New Japan. Got people who eat, sleep and breathe pro wrestling again. That's wrestling in the blood. outside interests, so people such as Mark Andrews and Chris Jericho, they're in a band. Jake Hager, he's a cage fighter. People with modelling experience, which is most female wrestlers in places now. And then you've got things like future road agent, future personality. Finally, we have worker styles. So these are all of the worker styles for TEW2020. You've got brawlers, so this will be people like Brody King, Paul Robinson. For comedy, there's people like Ryusuke Taguchi and Toriano. Daredevil, you could argue Joey Janela or Darby Allin. Entertainer, you've got people like Vader Scott. These are people who, at least for my mod, will have to be changed to that because the style that they are is no longer in TEW2020. It's going extinct in TEW2016. Hardcore, people like Ricky Shane Page, Drew Parker. High flyers, so cruiserweight is no longer one, so anyone that's a cruiserweight, for the most part, a lot of them will end up as high flyers. You've got impactful, so this hard strikes, the mixed suplexes with strikes and submissions, the hard hitting, think of the strong lariats, the strong chops, the headbutts. Your Daisuke Sakamoto, your Samoa Joe, Timothy Thatcher, Tommy Rishi and Volta. There's luchador and MMA crossover still. You've got Powerhouse, Braun Strowman, Dan Maloney, Jacob Fatu, people like that. You've got Psychopath and Regular, of course, Strikers. So you've got, that's brawling, but there's more finesse to it. So rather than just booting you, there's finesse to it, there's technique. So people like Kenta, Roderick Strong, Shinsuke Nakamura, Travis Banks. Technicians, Alex Shelley, Kushida, Scotty Davis. Your technician flyers, so they are technical, very technical. But they mix in a lot of high-flying offense with it. Mike Bailey and Pac are two examples of that, in my mind. And then you've got Technician Striker. So very technical wrestlers, but there's a lot of strikes in it. Zack Sabre Jr., Chris Ridgway, and Mark Haskins, for example. If there's anything that in this video or the last video that I haven't covered very well, or you want more depth to it, or more suggestions, or if you want to leave suggestions, do comment down below. Any feedback is appreciated, because I've never done this type of video before. Well, I did the new features, but obviously I finished recording that like 15 minutes ago. But yeah, so if there's any advice that you have, I would love to hear it. Every little helps, you know. I think that's a slogan of Asda, isn't it? No, Tesco. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling about supermarkets, so thank you all for watching. I know that I can't wait for TEW2020. I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a local to global, or now tiny to insignificant to global challenge that it might have to be called. We've got that starting very shortly at the start of TEW2020, and we will also have a Pro Wrestling in India save where the Great Khali's just going to be on a mad one. We're going to be hiring wrestlers. They'll be funny. It'll make sense. The booking should make sense, I'm hoping. But it will be quite funny. It's something that you can't really take seriously, can you? But thank you all for watching. I hope you have had a great time. If you've watched these back to back, by the way, fair fucking play to you. Because I've recorded for like an hour and a half yet, and I am wrecked from it. But thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you're looking forward to the game, because I know I am. So I hope to see you all very shortly for TEW2020. But also, we still have some TEW2016 content and a new series where we perform a big cool experiment very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.